What's up, y'all? Welcome. If you're new, welcome back. If you are a returning subscriber, this is Saving Stuff with Stephanie, where we are saving for future goals. We're cash stuffing to maintain financial discipline, all in hopes to become debt-free ASAP. And today we're going to reconcile my monthly budget. We're just going to compare what we set up for the monthly to make sure that's what we did per each paycheck budget. We're also going to go over the goals that I set for January just to make sure we did meet those goals. And there will be a very small giveaway at the end of the video. So if that is a video or content that you think you'd be interested in, stick around and stay tuned. All right, you guys, welcome back. So what we're going to do is basically we're just going to go over my monthly budget overview. As you can see, I've already filled in the numbers because if y'all wanted me to go over that with y'all, it would have took like a long time, and we have a lot to do in the video. But I am going to go over it with you all just to make sure everything lines up. Then, of course, we're going to go over the goals to make sure everything we set, you know, we can account for. And we're going to do a giveaway. Okay. So I am doing my monthly budget overview. It's basically closing out the month for January. My month spans from January the 2nd through the 29th. I only account for 2 pay periods. That's why I have a paycheck 1 and a paycheck 2. My overviews will only include 2 paychecks. Usually, if there is a magic month or a third paycheck within the month for me, that check is being used toward the bills for the upcoming month, or that's considered a free check, which will normally get thrown at debt in its entirety, dang near. But we're just going to be talking about paycheck 1 and 2. And paycheck 1 I received on the 2nd of January, and paycheck 2 I received on the 16th. All right, so the amount that I normally budget for every paycheck is $1,300, and that's for a 2-week time frame. But the amount that I was actually paid was $27.21. I did get $13.86 paycheck 1. $13.35 paycheck 2. I did go ahead and add those up, and that was $27.21. So I was $121 over, which is good. My mortgage, I do split bill my mortgage. That's $304 per paycheck. That was paid. My Discover card, here it looks like it was only $50, but my Discover card is $100 every month. Being that I did have a free check in December, the only bill or the only amount that I left in my account for a bill was the split bill portion of my Discover, because I knew like I'd be able to pay the other $50 with paycheck 2. And since I would not receive my next paycheck until the 16th, which is after the 15th, which is when my Discover bill is due, I needed to go ahead and leave that amount in my account. So I only really paid $50 from the checks within January toward Discover, because I already had $50 in my account to go toward January's bills. I hope I didn't confuse you guys. So $50 was paid, but the Discover bill for January was paid in its entirety. Okay. So my Amex bill or my Amex credit card is my Snowball. I don't owe $550 a month because that would be horrible. The amount that I pay though every month is $550 or $275 per pay period, because I am trying to get out of debt. But I actually paid more than that amount. You guys are aware, anytime my paycheck is over $1,300, the overage goes toward Amex. So the amount I was able to pay within these 2 pay periods was $721, which is $721 minus $550, which is an extra $171. So I was able to put an additional $171 outside of the budgeted amount toward Amex, which is great. Okay, my car insurance was $66. That was paid. Student loans $130. My water bill $35. My water bill was actually $24, but the additional $11 I just left it in my billing account to serve as a buffer. But I'm not gonna put $24 here because I don't even really count the buffer. I just budget $35, and that's what it is. $48 was my safe home. security, it was paid. My utilities every month, because I am on budget billing, is $172. That was paid. That was actually paid prior to, because I pay my utilities a month in advance. So this utilities bill is actually the utilities bill for February, because the utilities bill for January was paid in December. That's just how I set it up, based on how I get paid, to make sure everything is paid on time, and that I don't have, that my checks are kind of around the same amount after bills. But it was paid for January, so that's the gist of it. About me, when it comes to the closeout, I'm not reconciling too many numbers. My main objective with my closeout is, did my bills get paid? Did they get paid on time? And is my account in the positive? And if the answer is yes to all three, that will be considered a successful closeout for me. That is for me. Now, if you do your closeout different, that is great. Yes. But this is how I do mine. Okay, so as long as number one, the bills were paid, two, they were paid on time, and three, my account is not in the negative, that is considered a success. All right, so the amount I paid for a Ring camera was $5. Did pay it. My insurance, $17. It was paid. Xfinity, also paid. But the total that I did pay in bills for the month of January was $1,932. So it was a little bit more than what I had budgeted for, but that's only because I paid more toward Amex than I budgeted for, basically. My grocery and gas were the only two things that I budgeted for under variable expenses, because January was my no spend month, and the two categories I was not spending toward was household and spending. So those two categories, nothing was taken from there, and I don't usually spend from the rest of these on a regular basis. I don't. But $600 was what we budgeted, and $600 is what we did spend in those categories. Okay. As far as sinking funds are concerned, if you notice here, the amounts, they all line up. Everything that I budgeted for, because I actually used this as a skeleton key in making these. So everything that I did budget, I made sure that's how these lined up when we did the paycheck budget. So you'll see that the numbers here are the same, 109 and 109. My savings challenges, it was $40 per paycheck. That is correct, so that lines up. Okay, so my total income, the amount that I budgeted was $2,600, but the amount that I actually made was $2,721. My total expenses here, the budgeted amount was $2,411, but the total expenses that I actually paid was $2,532. So let's calculate all of this up just to make sure it does zero out. My sinking funds, which also include my savings challenges, is 189, 109, and 80, and it should zero out. But let's calculate it up and make sure it does. So 2721 minus 2532 minus 189. Does zero out the budget. The only thing that's different is Discover was paid for the month of January, but I did use $50 from a December paycheck to pay the other $50. So I only used $50 from, the paychecks that I received this month to go toward Discover. And then I also paid more than I had budgeted for toward Amex, which is not a bad thing, because you always want to pay more toward debt if possible. So I would consider this budget closed, and I would consider the budget a success. So yay, that was my first monthly budget overview, and y'all, I ain't gonna say it was a doozy, but yeah, how do I feel about it? I think it's cool. It's a lot of going back and looking, checking, adding, but that's fine. As long as I know that everything lines up and we did zero everything out, then it's all good. All right, so now let's go over the goals, because this is the fun part. Let's go over the goals that we set for January to see if we actually met the goals. And then we'll also do the January review as well. All right, so let me make sure I'm in frame so you guys can see everything. Okay, so goal number one for January was to get my Amex under 1K. And if you guys saw my debt update for January 2025, I did get my Amex under 1K. My Amex currently is at $840. So we did meet that goal. So I can go ahead and check that. All right, I wanted to also do a successful no spend month because I had never did a no spend before, and wanted to, try it just to see if I could do it successfully. And I would say that I did pretty good. So this is my no spend calendar. I did do my no spend a little differently. My no spend was done 2 different ways. And again, your no spend is customizable. Like, let me tell y'all, let me give y'all a little story, and I hope this don't take too long. But when I first started cash stuffing, I would hear people say, no spend, let's do a no spend. Basically, what a no spend was is, you preventing yourself from spending money that you didn't budget. When I first, came into the community, I was under the assumption that everybody in the community was a cash only budgeter. But then I later found out that some people are cash only budgeters, but then there are some people who also use their debit card, still use credit cards, things of that nature. So my question was, how are you spending money that you don't have? Because, I was looking at it from my own perspective. For example, if I have $100 and I use that $100 is for grocery. When I go to the grocery store and the amount is $100, I can't go over budget because where am I get the money? I only have $100. But what was happening, and I later found this out, what was happening is people were going over $100 and they were putting the extra on a debit card or a credit card or money coming from other places. And see, I was only taking into account the cash because I thought that's what we were kind of doing. But, that's not what everybody was doing. So I was basically like, so I can't do a quote unquote no spend if I use cash, which was not true. You tailor your no spend to be however you want to tailor it to be. Somebody could say, hey, I don't want to spend in eating out, so I'm going to use the money that I would budget for eating out and I'm going to save it. That wouldn't work for me because I don't have an eating out budget. I don't eat out. So me having a no spend for eating out would do absolutely nothing for me. So you kind of have to look at your budget, look at your life, look at your situation to see what do you need to work on. Do you need to work on cutting back on eating out? Do you need to work on cutting the grocery bill down? What do you need to work on? And that's what you work on, and you tailor your no spend around that. That is it, y'all. That is all. Okay, so my no spend was tailored around two different things. I did it 2 different ways. Number 1, I was only going to spend on certain days. This is just me. I was only going to spend on Thursdays because I'm one of those people where I'll go to a store and then I'll go back the next day to get 2 things, and then I'll go back the next day and get another thing. That was wasting gas, time, energy. That's me though. I'm tailoring it to me. So I was like, I need to go to the store 1 day a week, get everything that I need, make it a point to get everything that I need and sit my tail down. That was one of the parts of my no spend. Also was basically to spend on certain days. Also, I wanted to save some money, with the no spend. So I needed to know what I could cut back on or what I could avoid spending toward to save some money. Being that I was getting a gift card from my job and we was just coming out of Christmas, I didn't need to spend any money. So I didn't need to put any money towards spending. And I was using the gift card for household items. So if I could take those 2 categories out of my budget, I could use the money that I would normally budget for and just save it. And that's what I did. So I had 2 days that I actually went to the store and spent money outside of the day that I personally said I wouldn't spend. This is just me. So I did go and get gas on the 13th. That's because on the 19th is when I adopted Mecca, and it was a whole lot of rigmarole, honey, and I didn't have time to get gas, so had to get gas on the 13th. And then on the 26th is when I found out right before Monday, Zuri was out of chips. She can't go to school and eat lunch without chips, so I had to go to Dollar General and get her some chips. So I did have 2 days where I spent money outside of the days that I had stated I would not spend money. But again, your no spend is strictly however you choose to do it. There's no cut and dry way. There is no, set in stone way. It's whatever you feel you need to not spend money on. But I can say my no spend for me was successful. That was a lot, but that's one of the reasons why I never did a no spin last year, is because it was so confusing. Trying to figure out, okay, what does it really entail, until I realized it's however you want to do it. Okay, last but not least, I set a goal to read the Torah, which is the first 5 books of the Bible. You guys know one of my yearly goals is to read the entire Bible. So I did break everything up to, kind of set it up to where I'd be able to do that each month, a certain amount of books. Throughout the year, I should be finished at the end. So the first 5 books was my January goal, and I did do that. I am going to show you guys my Bible study journal. But before I do, I'm trying to see, do I want to go over the review? No, let's just go ahead and do the Bible study journal. Okay, so I changed some things in my journal because y'all know I'm changing things. I'm always changing things. So this is my Bible study journal. She is super cute. I wanted something colorful that went with the ring, so I just changed it. But what I'm going to do, every time I read a book, I printed this off. This basically just came from Google. Printed it off, laminated it. Every time I read a book of the Bible, I'm going to color it in until we get to the, to the end of the Bible. And then all of these will be colored in. So I have completed the books of law so far. All right, so these are the Old Testament books of law. I've done all of these. So, of course, now, February, I'll be working on Joshua, Judges, Ruth, 1st and 2nd Samuel. But we have completed the books of law. The method that I use, what I do is I set out, I map out exactly how many books I'm going to be able to cover within a month time frame. Before I read each book, I go to Bible Project. I'm not sure if you guys know who that is, but I'll put like a little clip of their channel on the screen. I go to Bible Project and I look at the actual, they usually do like a 6 or 7 minute outline of each book to kind of give you an outline, just a brief like synopsis of what the book entails. And it kind of, sometimes it'll break it down to, what you need to be looking for, how many chapters are going to talk about this. It's not a very long, thing. And it's given to you in a way where you can understand. So I go look at that first. Then I read each chapter. While I am reading, I read from my Bible app. While I'm reading in Google Docs, I am typing the summary. So I read a chapter, and once I read a chapter, I type the summary for that chapter. So I do that for the entire week. Once I get to the end of the week, I have everything already typed out. All I have to do is print it off and put it in this book. Then at the end, I go back and I look at the Bible Project again, just to make sure what I read and what I wrote correlates with what is given, in that little brief summary that they have. And if it does, then, great. But that's just my method. If that's something that you've been trying to do, you're working on trying to understand the Bible, that's just a method that I use. It has worked. I can safely say that there are so many things that I did not know about these 5 books in the Bible. When I say, y'all, I am intrigued now. I never thought I would be this interested, but I am. Genesis is like a soap opera. I'm just going to do like a brief overview, nothing major. Genesis is like a soap opera. It's so many characters in that book. It's so many stories, but you have to read Genesis in order to know the Bible, basically. It's like watching a movie in the middle of the movie. You could watch a movie from the middle to the end and it still be considered a decent movie, but if you don't watch it from the beginning, you won't get the whole plot, the whole gist of it. That's what Genesis is. In order for you to know the genealogy and who's who and, for it to make sense, you got to start with Genesis. Genesis is a long book too. It's 50 chapters, but it's so worth it. My favorite character from Genesis would be Joseph. Joseph was he was just very ambitious. He had integrity. He was a compassionate man. I'm not going to go deep into it, but yes, I love Genesis. Exodus, Moses was a G. Aaron, I I was a little disappointed in Aaron at first because, you know, he let the Israelites get away with a little bit too much. But it's cool. I think he was scared. But Moses, I think Moses' relationship with God was like nobody else's in the Bible. Moses and God really had some type of real close, intimate relationship. Just think of the type of relationship you have to have with God when you can say something and change God's mind. What? Like, God was about to destroy the Israelites on several different occasions. But Moses was actually able to, like, persuade him not to do it. Okay, but I enjoyed Exodus. Moses, like I said, was very, very special to God. I really do believe he's probably the only person in the Bible that God really got that close to. Leviticus was very Leviticus was more one of those books. It was very particular. I guess we can go into it, y'all. Yeah, Genesis is long. Look at all it. Yeah, so much so I started running out of ink. My ink started turning blue from black. Yeah. And Exodus, just want to say all them plagues I would have folded immediately. All the plagues, yes. I would have been gone. The first one. So, let's see. Leviticus. Let me get to Leviticus. Leviticus was, as you can see, it wasn't really much to write because it was a lot of particularities, a lot of rules, a lot of offerings. But I had to understand it's because these were humans in the same, well, in close proximity to God. So there were a lot of rules that God had in order for you to kind of dwell in that same space as he was in. They had to have a lot of rules. So Leviticus was just a whole lot of rules. But the one quote that I heard, I can't remember who said it, but he said, holiness is not about outward conformity, but about an inward transformation that reflects a holy God. And I said, I've got to write that down. So I wrote it down and I made it a sticker. But that was Leviticus. Numbers was probably one of my favorite because okay, I don't want to get too much into numbers, but there was a lot I learned about numbers. Fear mongering. God don't like the scary. Everybody's scary and scared. Like, I don't think God liked that because the scary ones that came back with, oh Lord, we can't do it. They too big. He didn't like them. He destroyed them. But the two that came back, Caleb and Joshua, that came back and was like, we got this. We can take them. That's who we rock with. So that fear mongering stuff, please stop doing it because that is not of God. Okay, let's keep it moving. Also, did y'all know it was supposed to take 11 days for them to get from Mount Sinai to the promised land, and it took them folks 40 years? 11 days to 40 years, all due to disobedience. Yes, Numbers was an amazing book. And then Deuteronomy to me was more so like, it was like a closing letter from Moses. It was like a TED Talk, basically, from Moses before he died, just reiterating what they needed to do. And it's kind of like, this is my analogy, you know, when you go to college and, you know, your parents take you to the dorm and they drop you off and they let you know, I love you. But, you know, it's not the end of the road forever, but you're on your own. I've raised you for 18 years, but now I have to let you go and you've got to make your own decisions. It was kind of like that. It was kind of like a farewell address. But, and then Moses died. But, y'all, I can say I've never been this in-depth in the Bible. I'm so glad I decided to do this. I will continue to do it. I'm excited about February. So, yeah, as y'all can see, I can go on and on, but I'm not going to make this video about that. But, yes, I did complete that goal. Definitely. So, I'm going to check it off. And we are going to just review January as quickly as possible. All right, as far as productivity goes, I would give myself a 5 because I feel like I was super productive. And as far as mood goes, I would give myself a 5 as well. And that's a first. I don't think I ever did 5 and 5. So, yay! Okay, the highlights of the month for me. My back to school challenge progress for the month of January, I saved $325, and that was for the month of January, which is almost half the amount that I need for that whole challenge. So that is amazing. Okay, another highlight of the month was the amount I was able to pay toward my Amex card, which was $1,030, which did allow me to get my Amex under 1K. So yes. Things that I learned, y'all. I finally learned how to do the print and cut feature on my Cricut. My Cricut has been sitting on Facebook Marketplace for about 3 months because I was really going to sell it because I wasn't using it. Didn't really try to get into using it. I actually purchased it for my daughter because she claimed she wanted to take up the, the business that I had, and she really didn't do it, or, didn't do much with it. So the Cricut literally had been used maybe once or twice, and I was just going to sell it. But then I opened it, started watching YouTube videos on how to use it, and I actually learned how to use the print cut feature. So I will be making my own stickers. Yay! Not for sale, though. At least not yet, I don't think. But, yeah, I know I'll be able to make my own stickers, so I don't have to buy any, per se. Also, that's something I learned. I also learned, for the planner girlies, the white labels. And let me show y'all what I'm talking about. These little multi-use labels that come with 72 in a pack. Instead of using whiteout, I saw a girl use these labels to cover up like the writing. And then you can put whatever you want on top of it. I actually like that better because it covers it better. And then whiteout can be messy. So, and then the labels are only like $1 and some change. So they're not expensive at all. So that was something that I learned from the planner girls. And then the last thing was in reference to Leviticus. The main part of that book for me was the Day of Atonement. And that was when the priest would just take 2 goats, 1 goat. They would sacrifice on the altar. And the other one, the priest would put his hand on the goat's head. And all of the sins of the Israelites is kind of like a, he would release it into the goat and send it out into the wilderness. And that's where we got the term scapegoat. I didn't know that. So I learned that. I don't know, what that would mean, but I never heard that before. So I was like, oh, okay, that's where that term comes from. The one thing that I am grateful for is this community. I think the last major budget I did was right before the beginning of the year. I gained, I know, at least 200 to maybe 300 subscribers. At least 200 subscribers. And I know that was because people were sharing the video. People were commenting on the video, putting the video in an algorithm, for other people to see it. And I so appreciate that, you guys. I never thought I would be at 900 plus subscribers at the end of January. Because you guys were aware when I made my 2025 goals, I wanted to be at 1K by June. And then all of a sudden, at that time, I was like at 600 subscribers. All of a sudden, I'm at 900 subscribers. And it's only been literally a month into 2025. So I am so grateful for this community. I really appreciate it, y'all. I love you guys. I've learned so much from y'all. And we are on the road to 1K. What? So as far as things to do better next month, I did not put anything there. I really don't know what I want to do better for next month because this month has been such an awesome month. So I really don't have an answer for that. Now, if I think of anything, you guys know I will make mention of it in a upcoming video. But I did not have anything to put there because January was awesome. Okay, so that is our review for January. January was about as awesome, if not a little more than December. And that's amazing. Okay, so let's get to the little, very little. I'm not going to, not too little. But you guys know I did make it to 900 subscribers. And I did want to do like a very, very small giveaway because I really don't have that much to give away. But I did want to give away something just to show my appreciation. So if you guys have seen me with this before, this is my cash pouch that I use to take to the bank. So I wanted to do a giveaway. I have a clear one that is just like the one that I use. And then I have an iridescent one, which is so cute. Look at the colors. So I'm going to do 2 giveaways. Basically, the only thing you need to do if you are interested is to put hashtag clear if you want the clear one, or hashtag iridescent if you want the iridescent one. That is all you have to do. You, of course, have to be within the States because I will not be able to ship these internationally. You will have to be 18 years or older. You will have to be publicly subscribed to my channel. And you will have to put your comment in the comment box before I do my next budget video, which is going to be Thursday. So we have until Thursday. And I think I'm going to announce the winners on Thursday. So again, if you are interested and you want a little cash pouch, put hashtag clear if you want the clear one. Put hashtag iridescent if you want this one. All right. All right, you guys. I did a whole lot of talking today. But I hope you guys all in all did enjoy the video. If you did make it this far in the video and you have yet to subscribe, I don't know really what to say. You should have been pushed to subscribe. It's been a long video. But if you haven't, please hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, smash the notification bell so you are notified when I upload another video. And I will see you all in the next one. All right, y'all. I'll see y'all in the next one. Bye.
York.